Review of the film, Exile. 4 years after the release of the triumphant Return, Andrei Zvyagintsev presented his second film, Exile. In the new work, Zvyagintsev continues the line of observation of human nature and man at the moment of choice. The film, The Expulsion, is imbued with the subtlest psychologism, which provides the viewer with a large space for reflection, including over themselves, and pushes them to their own interpretation of the experiences and thoughts of the characters. This time, the object of the director's attention was the crisis of estrangement that struck the relationship of a married couple and manifested itself in the characters in two different desires for love. All dialogues in the film are extremely concentrated to short silent phrases between characters placed in a situation of necessary and painful choice. The action of the tape revolves around an abstract family, a wife and husband with 2 children. Vera, whose role was superbly played by Marie Bonnevue, trying on her own to resolve the problem of love between her and her husband, in the hope of being heard, deliberately distorts the truth and tells him that she is expecting a child from another man. Her husband Alex, who has long been accustomed to their way of life, either because of fear or because of his own unwillingness to change something, in an effort to get out of unexpected awareness and return to his lost paradise, takes probably the only possible and a fatal decision for him, in fact forcing his wife to have an abortion. In an attempt to return to this paradise, through selfish force and the desire to get rid of someone else's, as he thinks child, the hero of Konstantin Lavronenko, who played Alex, loses his wife, and with it the opportunity to return to his former life, to his lost paradise. Not wanting to hear Vera before her death, he is forever banished from it, doomed to live with guilt. By the end of the film, the director finally sentences Alex, who learns the true results of his recently deceased wife's pregnancy test. With all this knowledge, he is left alone. On the tragic example of his heroes, Zvyagintsev draws us his interpretation of exile as an awareness of the tragedy and unrighteousness of his own deeds in the past. Exile is like the torment of a soul tormented by its own guilt. The issue of love as property and true love, as the coexistence of two people, which gave rise to problems in the relationship of the characters, they solve in different ways, but it becomes obvious that the impossibility of resolving this issue leads to misfortune. And of course not only in the movies. Observing in the film the consequences to which the absence of true love between people leads, in my opinion, one can come to only one and, in fact, long-known conclusion. Only love as a mutual orientation of people to each other, a sincere desire and ability to hear and listen, can and does make human happiness and harmony. Very opportunely, the author in the middle of the picture voices the text of the letter to the Corinthians. The film, Exile, does not instill in the viewer the belief that in practice one can live happily, rather the opposite. Probably, this was not the task of the director. However, in addition to aesthetic pleasure, this film allows us to see a kind of anti-example, and gives us the opportunity to once again think about ourselves, our actions and our lives. Will the viewer hear, will we all hear this parable, and most importantly, will we have enough strength and faith not to repeat such mistakes in our own lives? A rhetorical question. But a lot depends on us.